Today, we'll debate, is Windows Copilot better than Apple Intelligence? With Brittany, a tech pragmatist, and Oliver, a creative purist. They're two artificial intelligence personas. Please introduce yourselves.
All right, let's kick this off. Hi everyone, I'm Brittany. Think of me as your friendly neighborhood tech matchmaker because I spend my days setting people up with the right digital partners. No swiping left on printers, no matter how tempting. In my world, compatibility is king. I love solving practical problems with tools that actually talk to each other, because who has time to copy-paste between lockdown devices? I'm a firm believer that your tech should serve you, not the other way around. Open platforms mean more freedom, less hair-pulling, and way fewer group chat memes about why didn't this file open. If you've ever wrestled with a stubborn attachment at 2 a.m., you're my people. At the end of the day, I'm just here to make sure your gadgets help you win at life, preferably without needing to consult a scroll of ancient rituals or Apple Genius Bar appointments. Let the fun begin.
Hey folks, I am Oliver, resident Apple devotee, and the guy who arranges his iPhone apps by color instead of utility. Sorry, not sorry. I'm a designer, so I firmly believe if something isn't gorgeously simple, it probably shouldn't exist. Give me sleek curves. Give me buttery transitions. If a notification isn't accompanied by the softest possible pop, did it even happen? My philosophy is, technology should blend in like a good haircut. You notice when it's bad, but when it's great, it just lets you shine. Some people want buttons and settings galore. I want my devices to read my mind, respect my secrets, and never ever crash during a client presentation. That's why I'm Team Apple Intelligence. My laptop and phone get along better than some couples I know. So, yeah, privacy, seamlessness, and a healthy allergy to clunky pop-up windows. Those are my love languages. Let's keep it clean, keep it clever, and please, don't ask me to use MS Paint.
Thank you, guys. Brittany and Oliver will now present their 3 rounds of arguments.
Absolutely, Oliver. I totally get the appeal of seamlessness and style. Honestly, I admire anyone who can make their apps look like a rainbow. But let's talk about what actually happens day to day. Especially if you're, say, a designer bouncing files to collaborators, or someone like me coordinating with huge teams. Here's the deal. Microsoft's Copilot thrives in the real world because it grew up eating corporate breakfast. Word, Excel, Teams, Outlook, the whole productivity family. Think back to when Office became the universal language of work. People weren't asking, does this spreadsheet have rounded corners? They needed collaboration, tracking changes, and integrations, and Microsoft delivered. Remember when Google tried to break in with G Suite? Even then, most companies stuck with Office because everything just worked together. Now, Copilot builds on that tradition. It doesn't just predict your next word. It pulls in data from your emails, calendar, documents, even meeting transcripts across all your devices. Windows, Android, iOS, you name it. That's open, that's practical. And it actually helps you work with anyone, not just those in your Apple bubble. So while elegance is nice, history tells us productivity wins when you play well with others.
All right, Brittany, I'll give it to you. Microsoft has built an empire on getting everyone's spreadsheets lined up. But let's be honest, open often turns into overwhelming. Tons of options, pop-up windows everywhere, random permission requests. Sometimes it's like being at a family reunion where nobody speaks the same language. Sure, Copilot weaves through your emails and docs, but at what cost? More risk, more clutter, and let's not forget those moments when you have to Google, why won't my display extend on Windows? For the 100th time. Historically, Microsoft's sprawling compatibility has been a double-edged sword. Remember Clippy? The overeager helper who just wanted you to write a letter but usually made you want to throw your PC out the window? That's what happens when trying to be everything for everyone goes off the rails. Apple has always put the human first. Tight hardware-software integration, design that fades in the background, privacy as a default, not a checkbox buried in a settings maze. So yes, Copilot might play nice with everything, but sometimes a messy super network just means more headaches. When what you really want is for things to just work, out of the box every time. That's why I'll trade infinite options for elegant reliability any day.
Oh, Oliver, you Apple folks do love a just works fairy tale. But let's be real. Sometimes the magic fades when you need to do anything outside Apple's walled garden. Ever tried airdropping a file to a non-Apple user? You'll be emailing yourself attachments faster than you can say dongle life. And speaking of those buttery transitions, guess what? They don't help when your furry continuity feature drops you out of a call the second you touch anything non-Apple. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is still collaborating on boring old Office files and you're stuck converting half the time. Now, I'll give you this. Clippy was annoying. Sort of like autocorrect making my email sound like I've had too much coffee, but Copilot? It's not your awkward office intern. It's the seasoned pro who remembers everything, connects all your platforms, and doesn't need an iCloud exorcism every time you forget your password. Plus, I never have to watch a spinning beach ball while sharing a doc in a Zoom meeting. So sure, it just works. If you buy into the whole orchard and never step outside, me? I prefer tools that play well with the real world, even if they let you pick your own wallpaper. Imagine!
Brittany, bless your heart for loving digital chaos. But let's not pretend the real world is some wild Windows frontier where everyone's swinging spreadsheets like lassos. You mentioned compatibility like it's the holy grail, yet every time I have to jump through 4 dialog boxes just to print a PDF, a tiny piece of my creative soul dies. Sure, Copilot might wrangle your files, but Windows is the land of endless settings. Like a Swiss Army knife, you need a manual to use, especially after the latest helpful update. And AirDrop jokes, at least when an Apple device can't send a file, it's because it cares about your privacy or your storage. Not because the File Explorer decided to take a vacation. Everyone else is Zooming, Teamsing, and working together until someone's Windows update hijacks the meeting and restarts their computer. Shout out to those surprise update Wednesdays. If I wanted to troubleshoot drivers and tinker with Task Manager at 2 a.m., I'd just write my memoir on system errors. So keep your all-you-can-eat buffet of compatibility. I'll be over here in my apple orchard, where things might be more curated, but at least my music, messages, and Face ID don't need an instruction manual and a backup generator.
Simone, you're right. There's something serene about your MacBook humming away like a meditation soundtrack. But let's not pretend the only mindfulness happening in the Apple ecosystem isn't just waiting for another device to finish airdropping because it decided, nah, not today. And sure, pop-ups are annoying, but at least Windows tells me what's actually happening. Apple prefers mystery. Operation couldn't be completed. Which operation? Who knows? It's an exclusive riddle. Very on brand. Yes, my drummer might be on fire, but at least that's a concert worth watching. Not a silent guided tour where you stay on the path and don't touch the flowers. You get reliability, I get adventure, and the power to fix, adapt, and create outside the Apple playpen. Also, can we talk about Apple's privacy? They promise a lot, but let's not forget private doesn't always mean yours to control. Sometimes it just means we'll decide what's best for you. In summary, I'd rather have a few rough edges and the freedom to code my toaster than silky smooth restrictions. My world, open, wild, and endlessly customizable. Yours, sleek, safe, and dazzles. If we're honest, a little bit beige.
Brittany, I salute your tolerance for choice. It takes real courage to face down a sea of Windows pop-ups with nothing but grit and a task manager. But let's be honest, just because a car has a billion seat adjustments doesn't mean anyone wants to spend an hour finding a comfortable position before hitting the road. Sometimes, you just want to get in and drive, not Google where did the Bluetooth button go? For the 6th time. And as for the Genius Bar, I'll admit, Apple support is a little exclusive. But at least when you walk in, the staff offers you water, not a Windows error code and a pamphlet on troubleshooting safe mode. You talk about the rest of the world, but you know what most creators and visionaries use? Macs. Spoiler, it's not just because they look pretty on coffee shop tables. It's because everything's built to work together, no hand-holding, no drama, no Clippy peeking around corners. So sure, Copilot gives you endless options. Like a buffet where half the labels are missing and the ice cream machine is broken. You'll stick with Apple's focused approach, fewer distractions, more time creating, and yes, the occasional pretentious status symbol selfie. In the end, I'd rather have a system that lets me get lost in my work. Not my settings.
Thank you for your speeches. Someone from the audience will now make a question to Brittany and Oliver.
Hi everyone, my name's Sam. I am a university student majoring in engineering. And, full disclosure, I tend to go for whatever tech gets me through finals week without turning my laptop into a frisbee. Brittany, you made a great case for flexibility and real-world practicality. but I noticed you didn't touch much on accessibility features. With both Copilot and Apple Intelligence making big moves in AI, how does Windows compare when it comes to helping users with disabilities or unique learning needs? Do you think Copilot gives Microsoft the edge here, and are there any standout examples?
Great question, Sam. Accessibility is actually one of Microsoft's strongest suits, though it doesn't always make the headlines. Copilot is deeply integrated with Microsoft's broader accessibility features, many of which have been industry-leading for years. For example, Windows has a built-in narrator, voice typing, magnifier, and advanced contrast settings. And Copilot can help users navigate these with simple language prompts rather than hunting through layers of menus. One big advantage is Microsoft's dedication to open standards and compatibility. Copilot works with third-party assistive tech, whether it's screen readers, braille displays, or speech recognition, so users aren't locked into one brand or ecosystem. Recently, Microsoft even introduced AI-powered live captions and voice guidance across apps. Features that really matter in classrooms or workplaces. And for people with neurodiverse needs, like dyslexia, Copilot can help rephrase writing or summarize documents in simpler language. So, in a nutshell, Copilot isn't just for the typical user. Microsoft's using AI to meet a whole spectrum of accessibility needs and doing it in a way that's customizable, open, and always improving. That's a huge deal for inclusivity, and for not making anyone feel left out of the tech party.
Thanks, Brittany. That was super insightful. Oliver, I noticed you kept things focused on user experience, integration, and privacy, but I am curious about how Apple Intelligence fits into education or professional settings outside the creative fields. For example, how does Apple's approach boost collaboration or workflow for students in STEM or for large teams in business environments? Is Apple Intelligence moving beyond just making individual experiences smoother? And if so, can you share any concrete ways it enhances group productivity or cross-platform teamwork?
Great question, Sam. You're right. Apple's reputation is strongest with creative folks, but Apple Intelligence is definitely reaching out way beyond the Illustrator crowd these days. In education, especially STEM, Apple Intelligence has been getting integrated into apps like Numbers, Keynote, and even third-party stuff like MATLAB and Wolfram Alpha. Features like smart data extraction, context-aware suggestions, and enhanced handwriting recognition on iPads make capturing and organizing information a breeze, whether you're solving equations or jotting physics notes. Teachers and students can use real-time collaboration in iWork, so group projects don't devolve into email ping-pong or mismatched file formats. In business, Apple Intelligence is making life easier by automating meeting notes, reminders, and smart document search, all while keeping your data private and on-device when possible. FaceTime and messages are way more collaborative now, supporting inline document editing and screen sharing, which is great for teams. Even when half the group is remote and working on the train using their iPhones. Cross-platform, Apple's never going to be as open as Windows, but apps like Pages and Numbers work on the web, and Apple's privacy-first cloud services let you safely share and edit without sweating about leaks. The main upgrade is that Apple Intelligence keeps things intuitive and secure. From the solo coder to teams brainstorming across continents, without making anyone learn a user manual. So, it's not just aesthetics, Apple's bringing that it just works magic to group collaboration, too.
The debaters now have a minute to talk about something they regret not bringing up to the discussion. Alright, Sam, confession time. I totally regret not bringing up the fact that Windows PCs usually come with, wait for it, actual ports. I mean, for all Apple's sleekness, I can plug in a projector, a mouse, and a flash drive without carrying around a dongle belt like him gearing up for Batman cosplay. Missed opportunity there. And Oliver, I have to laugh. Your don't get lost in menus, just get in and drive argument really glossed over the reality of watching someone, for the first time, try to close a window on a Mac. Seriously, the where's the X? Panic is unforgettable. At least on Windows, when things break, I have 6 ways to fix it. On a Mac, sometimes your best bet is to just stare at the spinning beach ball and reflect on your life choices.
You got me grinning, Brittany. Honestly, my biggest regret is forgetting to show off how every time an Apple device gets a software update, my entire apartment starts buzzing. I've got iPads, Macs, and my phone erupting in harmony. It's like a secret club. I should have brought that up, bonding by simultaneous chimes. And as for you, Brittany, that customizable wallpaper flex was a classic. Because, really, when my productivity's tanking, nothing motivates me quite like picking between Mountain Vista number 17 and Blue Abstract Swell. Maybe one day Copilot can draft an apology note for my missed deadlines while I'm lost in Wallpaper Wonderland.
Thank you, folks. Let's go over to our judges.
Brittany's scores. 1. Argumentation and evidence. 9 out of 10. Brittany demonstrated a thorough command of facts and real-world examples, referencing Microsoft's historical dominance in productivity, the adaptability of Office tools, and detailed accessibility initiatives. Her arguments were logical, layered, and consistently on topic, with only a slight deduction for the occasional over-reliance on legacy comparisons. 2. Responsiveness and rebuttal. 8 out of 10. She responded thoughtfully to Oliver's points about simplicity and integration. Her rebuttals mixed playful humor, see dongle life and seat adjustment jabs, with persuasive logic. Occasionally, her responses leaned a bit too into snark, which, while entertaining, slightly softened the impact of her counterpoints. 3. Engagement and delivery style. 9 out of 10. Brittany kept the debate lively, approachable, and audience-friendly. Her use of humor, relatable analogies, and informal jabs maintained high engagement. She navigated the line between technical depth and accessibility very well. Oliver's scores: 1. Argumentation and evidence. 8 out of 10. Oliver effectively highlighted Apple's design philosophy, the strength of its privacy and security, and advancements in collaborative tools. He referenced real-world user experiences and expanded the discussion to education and teamwork. However, he sometimes generalized. Most creators use Max, without always backing up with concrete details. 2. Responsiveness and rebuttal. 9 out of 10. Oliver excelled in turning Brittany's points back on her, especially around customization and troubleshooting, capturing the tension between simplicity and interminable settings. His humorous analogies about Windows updates and tech support were sharp and memorable, and he addressed audience questions seamlessly. 3. Engagement and delivery style. 10 out of 10. He scored top marks here. His confident, witty persona made even technical points entertaining. The self-deprecating humor, creative metaphors, and lively banter kept both the judge and, I suspect, the audience grinning throughout. Oliver was a natural showman without losing sight of the topic. In summary, Brittany edged ahead slightly on substance and specificity, while Oliver shone in responsiveness and conversational flair. Both debaters would get high marks in a formal setting, with Oliver perhaps just outpacing Brittany in style, but Brittany maintaining a lead in evidentiary rigor and structured argumentation.
What are your opinions about the debate? What would you like to see ICE debate next? Keep questioning.